Welcome to this week's Real Estate Reels. I'm your host, Shelby Neely. Normally we're showing you houses for sale, but this week is a special episode where we're going to show you some homes you can tour. And it's so fitting that we're doing this now because this week Joplin is celebrating its 153rd birthday. And here to tell us more about this special opportunity, our own Gretchen Bolander.
Shelby, it's so good to be here with you. So we're talking about the Joplin Historical Neighborhoods Museum. I know it's kind of a mouthful, but I think this is something we're going to be hearing so much more as we get to the actual opening of this museum site. Now what this is, a couple of historic homes in Joplin, the downtown area, that have deep roots in the history of Joplin. I mean, honestly, they bought these homes, they started talking about this renovation back in 2017. It's been almost 10 years. But for those of us who were here before 2017, this was a block that you drove down. There's lots of pretty houses, historic homes in that area. So these two really got this special opportunity to have a spotlight shown on them. And it's not just that. There's a significant investment on the site. We haven't really ever heard a final number of what this project cost, but this is from top to bottom, not just what they were like when they were built in the 1890s, but better, because we have newer construction techniques. We can do things to hold these fascinating buildings together. And of course, it's not just about the structure and the architecture, but of course, what's inside of it, what made life tick in the 1890s. And for one more layer of the onion, this is also somewhat of a performance space. We're going to have folks leading tours through here who are going to, for lack of a better word, perform, show you about that time frame. So it is the history, but also areas where you can gather, and it's a very different thing. But, of course, you don't want to just hear me talk about it. We've got a lot to show you. And, of course, to fully understand this special project is to know how special these specific houses are. I talked to local historian Brad Belk, who took me all the way back to the founding fathers of Joplin.
It's very important to know that there are 4 immigrants, all right, from Germany, very poor immigrants that come across the pond, all right. And Ed is the first one to arrive in the United States. So they form this relationship and friendship, and then when the time is ripe, when in 1890 they see this block at 4th and Sargent.
Charles and Wilhelmina Schifferdecker and Edward and Margaretha Zelleken each buy 3 lots, sitting side by side. It cements that connection that had sprung up in Baxter Springs.
The point of it is that they made an intentional statement in making that they were going to be neighbors and friends for life, all right? And in 1890s, lots were going $1,000 a piece. So we know that the Zellekens purchased their 3 lots in 1890 for $3,000.
2 construction projects that strike a balance between local materials and unique features.
Arthur North is the architect for the Schifferdecker home. They select totally different designs. The Queen Anne style can never be confused with this Rhine Valley German Romanesque style. But what is characteristically similar is brick and stone, Carthage stone and brick that was made locally here. But I think it's interesting, architecture, especially this kind of residential architecture, really reflects the character. It reflects their likes, it reflects their wealth. And so they wanted something, they wanted statements. And Schifferdecker most evidently with the tower motif. Of course, he gets inspiration from his growing up as a poor boy in Germany and looks at the castles on the Rhine. So this is obviously sort of an Americanized version of that, but the reality of it is that this is what he dreamed of, and now he's fulfilling that.
So these homes have really been a part of Joplin's beginnings.
They really have, Shelby. And of course, staying part of Joplin's future, that became a mission that goes back, well, it started almost a decade ago. And that's when turning these houses into what they are now became possible. We're going to take a look back at the kickoff in the early years of this project from former reporter Aaron Sullivan.
The Schifferdecker, Zelleken, and A.H. Rogers homes are a significant value to Joplin's 19th century past.
All 3 gentlemen actually were huge leaders in our community They were landowners, they were bankers, they were industrials, businessmen, each one having a little bit different of a profession, but still leaders of our community involved in so many parts of our early development.
David and Deborah Humphreys, the owners and operators of Tamco Building Products, have acquired the Murfreesburg properties.
But it's pretty rare, the number of people that want to live in an old house and spend the money to keep them up. And so it seemed like if these were going to get improved, it was going to take somebody to step in and do that.
Once restored, 2 of the homes will be open to the public for tours as a living museum of art, mining, and business development in the area.
I'm really hopeful that the kids will go there on school tours, because I think to see the context of that in real life is an important thing. And I think they'll enjoy seeing houses that are unusual and special.
The third will become the museum office. The Humphreys contributed $750,000 to their repurposed charity, Joplin Historical Neighborhoods Incorporated, for the properties. Each home hosts its own personality and past.
Schifferdecker home, and it's very big and burly, Romanesque style, with some German craftsmanship involved in that. The Zelleken house is a more dainty, much different, asymmetrical Victorian home. It's called Queen Anne style, and it's a fascinating style in its own. The 2 homes that we got, the Zelleken home was in the best shape because it didn't have that devastating fire. So many of the trim and the woodwork we just took out, numbered, refinished at a warehouse that we had in Webb City in the industrial park, and then easily just to put them back together. There was some issues with it, but nothing like there was structurally here. And it wasn't so much a reflection on the past owners. It was the devastation of the fire.
One of the earliest and more serious problems, overall stability for the Schifferdecker house.
And for some reason, this house wanted to tip and move. And so we had a period of time where we had to address that. But basically, we formed a trench all the way around, and then we put basically a concrete foundation, and this thing is completely blocked in, and the movement has stopped. But that wasn't the only issue we had. The walls were pulling apart as well.
They had to secure those walls before they could even deal with the other aspects of restoration.
We added the metal fence, and we mimicked the metal fence from the original fence. We just elongated it a little more. We are very conscious of the value and the resources it took to make this. We clearly want to guard it as well.
The roof was replaced, decorative features restored on porches, and new steps installed.
We take great pride in repurposing and giving building materials a second chance. So the list there is lengthy. We got 77 pallets of Carthage limestone from the Knights of Columbus. The Knights of Columbus was affiliated with the St. Peter's Catholic Church, and where we were desperately needing some replacement, the Carthage limestone quarries have closed. And so, and we wanted to match as authentically as we could. So those 70 plus pallets were just absolutely fabulous.
Inside wallpaper removed and new woodwork in place.
The craftsmanship is off the charts. And we rebuilt the complete staircase of the Schifferdecker home. And it just really is endless of their work. And we got the best.
At times, painstaking work. But even when timeframes and budgets wouldn't cooperate, the goal stayed the same. The best and brightest version showing Joplin history from more than 130 years ago.
The restoration is something you got to be very careful with. And most people in the end put a Band-Aid on how far they're going to go. We didn't do that.
They also went the extra mile when it came to what's inside the Schifferdecker and Zelleken homes.
We had to have something representative of the late Victorian era. So we got Susan Barrett, she's from St. Louis, and she's our interior designer. And she basically, I'm talking to you, but basically had to go out and find everything. That's thousands and thousands of items. This was over approximately around a 2-year period. So we had to have something representative. We had to have something that looked authentic, that would make you feel like you were in Charles' bedroom with the furniture that would look like that they could possibly be his.
But some of the items on display are actually from the families themselves, donated for the Joplin Historical Neighborhoods Museum.
Elegant china on the dining room in the Schifferdecker is a gift from the family. And you prize those kind of items because we have so few of them. But why it's important is because you can think about, they had soup out of the bowls and they ate meat dishes off the plates and that type of thing.
Basically, the rooms are crammed full of everything it took to make life happen in the 1890s.
It's elaborate, it's over the top, it's Victorian.
Principal historian Brad Belk has a few favorites, like a trunk in the Schifferdecker home.
This 1789 trunk in Charles' bedroom. That's where you stored your clothes. You didn't have a closet, you didn't have a hanger. And so there aren't any closets in the original framework.
Meanwhile, the Zelleken home features a dog's head armchair that came to the site as a donation from a now defunct Carthage museum.
Got a little bit of the Powers Museum here today that we can relish and hopefully tip our hat to something that was really wonderful for the city of Carthage. It was a great city museum.
Central to that era is the sitting room,
where we would have thought Wilhelmina would have sort of hung out. Is the place to have tea parties, to correspond with others. We're writing letters. We're not texting or sending messages any other way. It's a very formal time. This is a calling card time where you bring your card, you come to the door. But this is really how you would come to the home. You would either have to be invited or you could call, and if you did, you weren't always accepted.
The walls themselves aren't forgotten, starting with the general look of things.
The Bradbury and Bradbury wallpaper is just extraordinary.
Also representative of the role one of the homes played in fostering the arts throughout the community. The Zelleken was the first Joplin home of the Ozark Artist Guild, purchased by George and Agnes Spiva for $10,000.
When we immediately got the Zelleken house, the first thing went through my mind was, how are we going to celebrate Spiva? The Spiva Center for the Arts, all right. It was born in the Zelleken home, and we have a tribute to it on the second floor.
The two homes have a nearly endless list of features, along with some surprises you have to see in person to fully appreciate.
We have a surprise in the tower. We really feel that the experience to the tower is memorable.
And experience years in the making, creating a unique look at the past.
It's just real simple. Without David and Deborah Humphreys, we would never be where we're at today. They've helped create the vision. The idea of purchasing these two properties was brilliant.
Gretchen, the details of this home are so absolutely beautiful. You can tell so much went into everything that you see there.
I mean, detail, really, Shelby, is what this is all about. Making sure that each piece of this project would be possible. It isn't just about showing off antiques and heirlooms, though, from this bygone era. It will also show you a taste of life, again, from the 1890s. Part of the showcase is that way that the homes have been rebuilt, certain features that can tell a historic tale.
And that's just a taste of what you'll see at the new old site. The Joplin Historical Neighborhoods Museum does limit the number of visitors at a given time, so it's key to buy tickets ahead of time online.
Check our website, joplinhistorical.org. And where we're going with that is that it has elaborate details of a lot of things that people might want to know, as well as how you're going to come and visit. And this is another situation because when you went to a regular house in America, a historic house for the most part, you really didn't need a reservation, and there were time elements, but really not where we are. This is a timed entry. We can only take 8 to a maximum 12 at a time, so that they can have this experience. And this immersive experience takes time, and it has to be done in a certain sequence. And we can't rush the sequence because we want to tell the full story. So this is difficult for everybody to understand, but once they come and visit, it will be as clear as one can get.
The museum is also recruiting volunteers from the community to help with daily operations.
We have a staff here, and we'll have very outstanding, experienced docents and guides, but we also have a lot of in-between here. And so really what we want, ideally the person I want, is someone that is friendly, that wants to welcome people into the homes, that's more than willing to have conversations, and that really kind of assists them. What one needs to know can vary. One doesn't need to know, the 7,000 pages of the history of Charles Schifferdecker.
The 2 houses have 5 stories plus a basement, so visitors should be prepared to climb.
I will forewarn you, there are many stairs. Lots and lots and lots of stairs. And so this isn't, we have lifts to get you up to the first floor, but the issue of the stairs are never going to go away.
Which prompted them to find options for guests who want to visit but avoid the climb, a virtual view of the homes.
The idea of trying to be as accessible as we can to everyone was a high priority. And the houses that I've referred to that I've seen, it's either you can make the stairs or you can't, and there really isn't any consolation prize. That's not the way we were going to roll here. We have to have ability to show some of this beauty on the other floors. So it's very innovative.
And this is only a taste of what people will get to see and experience, Shelby, when they get to actually get into this museum site, these historic homes. Tickets do go on sale next week. Visitors don't want to miss their chance to experience
No,
this.
they don't. And Gretchen, I cannot wait to see this in person. Thank you so much for taking us on this tour. And thank you so much for joining us for this week's Real Estate Reels. We'll see you next time.